We're back here in Arlington, Texas. Paul Gillin with Scott Hebner at the QAD Redzone Champions of Manufacturing Conference. We're in the shadow here of the stadium where the Dallas Cowboys play, where the Texas Rangers play. There's Six Flags just down the street. This is where it's all happening, isn't it, Scott?
It is. We just heard from Troy Aikman, which was a good conversation, motivational.
And now we're going to hear about manufacturing ERP. Our guest, Amit Sharma, who is the president of manufacturing ERP at QAD, recently of SAP, I understand, just came over 3 months ago around the time that Sanjay joined. What enticed you over here?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, that event with Troy was incredible. One of the things I picked up, he was talking about what it takes to build the championship teams. Focus, courage, teamwork. And what we see in manufacturing, it is something similar. You're working on the supply line, you need the team, you need the focus, you need the courage to call what is wrong and stop that line before product ships out with a lot of bugs and problems. So one of the things that brought me here is that QAD's whole focus on the manufacturing vertical, how we are trying to solve the problems which are for the manufacturing industry. In my prior role, I was focused on manufacturing industry as well, but we were looking at more horizontal, not deep vertical capabilities. With QAD, we are super focused on solving manufacturers' problem. And that vision, the entire vision of becoming the #1 platform for manufacturers is what drove me to join and team up with Sanjay to serve manufacturing community.
Can you define sort of broadly, how does manufacturing ERP differ from conventional enterprise?
Yeah. Look, I spent 20 years in the ERP space, so I've seen all the pitches where, all the ROIs and deep vertical functionality appeared in the demos, but when it came to reality, it was a horizontal solution. And then what happens is most of the time, you're trying to get those vertical capabilities in your platform. So you have horizontal capabilities. Here on the manufacturing side, starting from the production scheduling, warehouse management, MRP run, quality inspection, all those are very critical capabilities for manufacturers, which are not bolt-on in QAD. They are built in the platform. That is differentiating. So we are not just talking about the messaging piece. There's a product truth. Product is designed to solve the problems that manufacturers have.
Yeah, and one of the things that Troy talked about was from Jimmy Johnson, had a vision for the team, right? And a vision without execution is hallucination, right? Very focused on both. You have to know where you're heading, but you have to be able to execute. And what I love about you guys, what I've learned so far, having been here, is you have a very clear vision. This evolution from a system of record to a system of action. Maybe you can just define that difference in a little bit more detail?
This is one of the topics I'm very passionate about, and maybe I'll take a little time to explain. So you see, ERPs, they have existed for 40, 50 years. The whole idea of ERP came to be is that if you're selling a product, you have to replenish the inventory, you have to settle the dues, you have to pay your suppliers. So somebody, somewhere, figured out every transaction that happens in business is interconnected. That's how the ERP concept came to be. Now, what is happening is that over the years, ERP has become this place where all the transactions get recorded, but when it comes to take action, it doesn't happen. So let me give you an example. If a supplier send a note saying that this entire delivery is going to be delayed, that information should not just sit in ERP. That's what happens today. Actually, that's an event. That's an action, which means now what we have committed to our customers, we can't deliver it. At the same time, can we find the alternatives? Can we go to the other suppliers who can deliver the product in time so that we can remain committed to our customers? This is where system takes action based on the events that are happening. Today, ERP is not designed that. It is just recording transaction, and then it expects people to come in and interpret those transactions. With system of action, we are saying every transaction is important, but every transaction that impacts business also mean multiple actions for various people, and that's what we call the system of action. So system of record with the AI, delivering the actions which are meaningful, and in the real time.
So when a customer makes that move, what are the key levers they're pulling to, to ramp ROI? And give us a couple examples to bring that to life.
Yeah, I think, few of the things I'm going to talk about, but our customer base operate on a very thin margin. We are primarily supplying to tier 1, tier 2, verticals of automotive, industrial. And they can't afford supply line to stop. They can't afford shipping the wrong product because the margins are so thin. So our focus primarily is contributing to the EBITDA and all the margins, the bottom line that customers have. So today, whatever we are doing, the areas we are focusing, so we are not putting the AI bolt-on bells and whistles. We are focusing on only those use cases which deliver measurable and meaningful ROI. And one of the examples I'll say is the inventory management. You know, this has been an art and science problem forever. How much inventory should you carry that you do not lock more capital, but at the same time do not miss those orders? It's kind of a very nice balancing act. Now, AI works very well when you give it data, it identifies those patterns going years and years, and then on that it can suggest the recommendation what should your inventory balance should be. So this is where we are applying this AI to bring that intelligence. But here's more important thing. You know, we're getting that intelligence out is one thing, but based on that intelligence, we are bringing human in the loop and saying, if this is the right way to think about inventory level, then you can write those parameters back in ERP so that the next time you're running your MRP run, that intelligence is already baked into ERP. So you don't have to go and rerun again. And this is working seamlessly with your ERP system. That exactly is how we are delivering the meaningful outcome related to particular KPIs that our customers have and bringing that system of action to life.
We remember during the pandemic the supply chain disruptions and the ripple effects that those had on inventory, on warehousing, on logistics. How do you prepare your customers for a catastrophic event like that?
Yeah.
How does that inform your thinking?
Yeah, I think this is where our vision, so we've started with our Champion AI vision. Our vision is that every role in a factory has a KPI. There's a line manager, there's a production planner, there's a quality inspector, there's overall in charge for the factory. All of those people have KPIs. They have objectives that they have to achieve. Daily, they go to bed with certain problems in their head, they wake up fearing certain things. We want to apply AI to have those champion agents which carry the same ambition, same objectives, same KPIs to their human counterpart. So the idea is, for example, if you're a procurement manager and you feel there's a risk and you're able to procure the necessary material, AI should be able to do this before you and tell you the alternative plan. This is where we're going to take the Champion AI. So today you will see me present. We will talk about what is available today to address some of the problems you said, but also a grander vision where we continue to ship these agents which cater to those problems, tariffs, delays, supply chain disruptions. Those agents will be working with humans actually to suggest those alternative plans, suggest what course of action you can take to address those problems before they happen.
I love this notion of that it senses, it decides, responds, which implies that it's more than just automation. I think you were making that point. You're infusing AI decision intelligence into this to help the people that are on that factory floor in the manufacturing process make better decisions.
Yeah.
And I do think that's where it's all heading, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we believe AI will amplify human potential. It is a tool which can give the information and intelligence at right point in time, but that will only happen when these intelligences are sort of baked in the workflow where people live. So today, if you're on the shop floor, you're handling the production scheduling. That's where you're interacting with the system, which order gets shipped when. That intelligence has to be within that workflow. It cannot be bolt-on because that action is happening in real time. So if there's an intelligence, there's an action that have to be executed that has to be executed in that workflow. And this is where Champion AI is going to be different because it's not going to be a bolt-on. It's the ERP reimagined. We apply the AI within the workflows. Unlike many places we see, where we see all the talk about bells and whistles and AI, which is coming on the top. It doesn't have access to the system of record that we have with ERP. We know the data, we know the workflow, because we know how the manufacturing happens, because these are the workflows we have in ERP. So we have the process knowledge, we have the data knowledge, we have expertise and laser sharp focus on manufacturing. And once these three things we provide this context to AI, this is super purposeful for the manufacturing world.
How are you getting your customers there, particularly your legacy customers who have highly customized installations? How are you slipstreaming AI into their operations?
It's a very good question. So one of the things we are doing is that first, we're starting with the champion benchmark, so every customer's journey can be unique, we understand, depending on where they are. But specifically, we are looking AI to accelerate the migration, so two things we are looking. So first, can we expedite the migration process? So rather than we are doing manual data transfer and all that, can we apply AI to accelerate that migration? So this is where we have migration agents that we are launching. They will cut the time by in the ratio of 1 to 10 of doing the legacy migration, of data migration. Then the second thing we are looking to apply AI is primarily address the customization. So a lot of our customers over the period, they have done the customizations and the systems have become bloated on top of what we provided them. And they were needed, we understand, because this was a missing piece. But over the years, we have also shipped tons of functionality. So we are working on tools which can then, looking at customization, suggest the customer that this is already in standard, you don't have to carry. And that's a straight away TCO reduction there. You don't have to maintain customization piece. So this is the tool we are working, and the idea is that this tool we provide in the hands of customers, in the hands of partners, to bring down and address this problem of customization. So these are the two areas where we are currently already focusing on.
So if you're the people on the floor, right, or in that process, how are their roles going to change now and as we go forward in time, right, in terms of not just individually, but how they work as a team?
Yeah, it's a very good point. I think my view there is that everybody became information worker in past 20 years because everybody's working with the IT system. They need information at the hand. I think now the time is that ultimately, if you think about an example, if a person is collecting multiple information to make a decision, synthesizing information, and understanding what is the impact of a transaction, impact of an event, AI is pretty good there. So it's going to augment. So for example, you're working on a workflow and supplier is delayed or costing has gone up. That information is coming in the different place and sitting in your ERP system. Now you don't have to wait and go there and see the impact of it. AI working in the background can bring that information, work on the alternative plans, and suggest you improvement. So this is going to amplify the potential of people. You can call that information worker 2.0. Rather than just storing the information and knowing where to go, what to look for, and then after synthesizing information, think, oh, what does it mean for me? That part AI can do pretty well. So it's going to augment humans and amplify their potential.
Manufacturing isn't self-contained. You have a whole series of links to supply chains, partners, right, distribution, logistics. What are you doing to simplify those integrations?
Yeah, I think, again, we understand, integration is a big fatigue. Every ERP implementation, there are integration to several things. So one thing we have intentionally done, and we will launch today, is that we have a new integration platform where everything is not an IT project. And the platform is so intuitive that you can also, even as a business person, you can see where data is moving from X place to Y. You saw our announcement and the partnership with Boomi. That's #1 connected platform, and our integration platform is based on Boomi. So that's a big issue we understand for our customer base. So we're going to leverage Boomi to provide that integration and use the AI capabilities also to accelerate those integrations things.
So the agentic AI architecture that sits underneath all this, that's what facilitates, yes, the ease of integration?
Correct.
Much easier than the traditional, yes, ERP systems.
Yes.
Yeah.
Curious about your 90-day implementation model. How realistic is that? I mean, for a company, for a mid-sized greenfield company, how realistic is it? These processes typically last years.
Isn't it sound unreal? 90 days? It
does.
Because, I've seen most of the nightmare around ERP there can be in 20 years. So, the way we are looking at it slightly different. We think over the year working with several customers, we have a very good understanding what a mid-market manufacturer's workflow should look like. So we have templatized that if you're a mid-market manufacturer, let's say tier 1, tier 2, automotive supplier or industrial, what workflows do you need? That's the first step. So we have a prescriptive approach. We have defined that, we have templatized that. That saves humongous amount of time. The second thing, again, this is for a net new greenfield. So we're not talking about bringing the complexity from the past in this new platform. It's essentially if you're starting a new plant. The third thing, we have looked into where all we can apply AI. So integration platform, migration from your legacy system, using AI to also accelerate collecting the business requirement, once you're defining that. And then doing things in parallel. So we understand when it comes to training and testing, every plant has to do different thing. But if you have one template across 2 sites, 3 sites, that's the same template. We do it once, but the training and all, onboarding actually only differs because that's where you're dealing with people working in the plant. So we've taken the areas where we always saw the friction was, and we've taken out those friction, and we very strongly believe, and as a matter of fact, you will see with me on the panel, customers who are going through that 90 days journey. So it's not only the story, it's a reality. We have real customers who are taking that journey with us as we speak.
So are you essentially saying that a greenfield company should do it your way, that you have the best practices and the templates?
Yes.
Templates, and so...
Yeah, for those verticals, industrial and automotive tier 1, tier 2, absolutely yes.
Sounds very SAP-like.
Well, the difference though is that we are doing in 90 days in reality, not on the PPT.
What do you say? I mean, SAP has a manufacturing business. They're the gorilla in this market. How do you compete against SAP?
By being focused. So SAP, and I have a background, I was there 20 years. I think SAP does a fantastic job of creating a horizontal platform which caters to 25 industries. SAP serves 25 industries. For us, our dollars are not being competed against different industries. Our focus is all manufacturing. And we are looking at it holistically. We are not even saying it's just ERP, is it Redzone? We are saying what is happening in the factory, beyond ERP. What are the problems which live outside of ERP and complicate further? So we are focusing on the factory. We are focusing on the manufacturing holistically. Not from the ERP angle, not from the CRM angle, not from the AI angle. That is where we differentiate. I mean, SAP is a large company, as I said, focus on multiple industry, so that's where the R&D gets competed against. Our R&D is super focused only on solving manufacturing problems.
That resonates with me, just given all the conversation, I got a cool job, I get to talk to all you guys all the time. And my view is that the software industry is going to get reshaped in the years ahead, and it's going to reward fundamentally 2 things. Deep, nuanced expertise in a vertical, because you're trying to give superpowers to knowledge workers.
Yes.
And you got to really understand that knowledge work. And then 2 is a mindset that is really about labor. It's about digital labor, right? In creating an environment where everyone has their agentic partner, right? Their digital collaborative assistant that's going to actually help you do everything.
Yes.
And so I think expertise in that vertical nature, and I'm not just talking industry-wise, being deeper right down into the actual people in the roles, is what's going to win in the end because of agentic AI, because that's what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you think about it, I mean, there's also a perspective, just from the technology industry standpoint. The biggest cost of labor of building software was software engineering. Yeah. And you can see right now how much focus is there to generate the code and automate the code. So the biggest moat people had, or companies had, that, okay, I had money to hire best of the software engineers, which is fine. That is going to get democratized. So now what you see, there's no need of compromise on certain solution. You can have a solution which is designed and work for your business, because the cost of building that solution only for you is drastically continue to go down. And this is where you will have super focused, super contextual applications, because AI has to be contextual. If you give it 50,000 things, it's not going to work for it. It has to have the data for that domain to do a better job. And this is where our focus on manufacturing will differentiate. And you will see from the AI standpoint, our AI is just super focused on solving manufacturers' problems.
And your AI, I understand, is being created through a partnership with AWS.
Correct.
Is that right? Are you using entirely AWS tools?
Well, it's a combination of certain things. So the way I see it, in AI, there are multiple stacks, but let's say 3 stacks. So one is the sort of infrastructure provider access to LLM models, right? That's where we see AWS is coming in. They have sophisticated tool. The second layer is that entire orchestration, right? Entire agentic platform. That is something we are building. And third is the context, the data, which is residing in our ERP system, residing in Redzone, and all the data that we've collected. This is again with us. So yes, we are using AWS platform, Bedrock platform to be specific, to get access to those LLM model, to get the agentic framework, but the entire agent that we are built, entire agents are being built by us, plus all the context and data is sitting in our systems here.
Big changes going on at QAD,
Yes.
exciting times ahead.
Yeah.
Amit Sharma, thanks so much for joining us today, sharing a few minutes of your time. Tell us about manufacturing ERP.
Thank you for having me, and enjoy the conference.
We'll be watching
We
your
will.
progress. Paul Gillin with Scott Hebner here at the QAD Redzone Champions of Manufacturing Conference in Dallas. We'll be right back.